Good morning. Good morning, everyone, and happy Monday. It's great to be back here again with everyone. My name is Jennifer, and I'm a teacher with English in the City Prazo. And we are at the beginning of another week of the month of May, and we are getting ready and gearing up for summer. And this has been a very particular spring, as all of you know. And maybe some of you are suffering from this syndrome, and maybe you aren't. What condition am I talking about? I'm talking about boredom. How does it feel to be bored? Are you a boring person? So this is a word that can be used as an adjective. This movie is very boring. Or he is a boring person. Or I am suffering from boredom. So boredom is the noun and boring is the adjective. And maybe some of you understand how this feels and what I'm talking about, especially since so many of us now, as we are well into phase 2, but restrictions are still limited, meaning we cannot come and go as we please. We cannot pick up the phone and call our friends and go out when we want. So sometimes we can feel bored. We can suffer from boredom. For those of you just tuning in, my name is Jennifer, and I'm with English in the City Prazo. What are we talking about today? We are talking about boring. As you join our focus activity group, please type in your name and say hello. Let me know you're there and let me hear from you, because I love it when people participate in these focus activities. It's very difficult, though, to be bored in spring. As you know, this is the season where people start waking up. Good morning, Andrea. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning. I hope you've had a good weekend. My weekend was relaxing a little bit, somewhat hectic at times. I find that being a house person, a stay-at-home mom, is a lot more demanding than going to work. Maybe other parents realize this as well, that when you are home cooking the meals and cleaning the house, picking things up and putting things away, and reminding people to clean their rooms and make their beds, the work day never ends. We can't get into YouTube. It should work. I'm on YouTube. I'll try. Andrea, let's see if we can get onto YouTube. Because as you know, English in the City is live every day, not just on Facebook, but also on YouTube. And yes, I am on YouTube. It won't let you in. I am there, and I am here. I'm on our YouTube channel and on our Facebook page. Right now, Andrea, YouTube is working if you prefer that platform. What are we talking about this morning? For those of you just tuning in, we're talking about being bored. Are you bored? Or do you have too much to do? We said that there are different ways of using the word bored. Bored can be a noun or an adjective. And we're going to figure out when to use which. and why. We're also going to talk about the opposite of bored, which is excited. The opposite of boring, which is exciting. And also the differences between interested and interesting, fun and funny, which are two words that we interchange incorrectly very often. So let's get started on our focus activity. As you join our focus activity group, please say hello and let me know you're there. I would love to hear from you. This beautiful, beautiful Monday morning. Spring is very, very warm this year. And I have to admit, I am happy because I love the warmer weather. I suffer from cold. What do you think? Here we see 4 images on our screen. And we see that also the people have different expressions. What do you think they are feeling? As a group, we're going to go over these 4 questions together. What things make you feel bored? This is when bored is an adjective. I am bored. I can't think of anything to do, and I'm just sitting here doing nothing. What things make you feel excited? Sometimes if you're doing something or you're watching something and you just can't stop that smile from exploding all over your face, not because it's funny, because it makes you excited and it makes you happy. What are you interested in? And this is also an adjective, but shows not necessarily excitement, but certain situations or topics that make us think and make us curious to know more. And then the final question, do you know any funny jokes? And what's the difference between something being fun and a person being funny? So let's get started with our first question. What things make you feel bored? To answer this question, what does it mean to be bored? How do you feel when you are bored? Take a look at the first picture here. And we see a man in the upper left-hand corner with his face on his hand, looking like he doesn't care, thinking maybe I want to be somewhere else. What does it mean to be bored? Not to be tired, like, oh, I wish I could sleep, or tired, it's been a long day, my body is tired. But to be mentally tired and you can't think of what to do, Andrea. You have a bad internet connection. Well, Andrea, can you see me on Facebook? How is your connection on Facebook? I know Andrea is telling us that he is bored, or maybe frustrated is a better word, for the internet connection. What things make me bored? I am bored when, usually on rainy days, Rainy days when I'm stuck in the house and I can't think of what to do. I can't think of what to do, and I don't have the energy to do anything. That's what makes you bored. Because maybe you don't have the idea, but you have the energy, so you look for something to do. But when you don't have an idea and you don't have the energy, you pass the day not knowing what to do and not wanting to do anything. What things make me feel bored? I'll give you an example. Organized museum tours. Okay, good morning, Luca. Thank you so much for saying good morning. When people participate, it's such a great thing. Hello, Luca. How are you? And welcome back, Andrea, on the other side, from the other side. Luca, this morning we're talking about being bored. What does it mean to be bored? When you don't know what to do and you don't want to do anything. Yes, you are interested in learning English. You're interested now, Andrea, in perfecting your English because, yes, you are a professional student. What things make you feel bored? I was saying that I feel bored when I go on organized museum tours. When I walk around the museum with a large group of people, and there's the museum guide in the front with her flag, talking a mile a minute about things in the museum, and maybe she's talking too fast, and maybe there are too many people, and I can't see. So I feel bored because I can't concentrate. Other than bad internet connection, Andrea, what makes you feel bored? And Luca, I don't remember how old you are, but are you bored in school? I used to love school, so I thought school was very, very interesting. But I realized that not everyone agrees with me, and a lot of people are bored. As Andrea considers the things that make him feel bored, let's talk about what makes you feel excited. What does it mean to be excited? You're 11. Okay, Luca, do you like school or do you feel bored? Do you feel bored in school? We said that being bored is not knowing what to do and not wanting to do anything. So what is excited? Excited is when you have a lot of energy, but positive energy that makes you want to do more. You feel bored when a person speaks too fast, even in Italian. If someone speaks too quickly, it's hard to focus and concentrate, so your mind wanders. You like school? Excellent, Luca. I'm so glad you like school. So when do you feel bored? I feel excited, on the other hand. I feel excited when when I'm having an interesting conversation. If I'm talking to a person that makes me think and makes me curious Then I get excited. And that takes us to question 3. What are you interested in? So a lot of times, being interested makes you excited because you are curious to know more. It's all related. So I am interested in art. So when I visit museums or when I talk to an artist, I am interested and then I get excited because I want to know more. But then there's a different part of being excited when things are funny. When things are funny, they make us laugh. And that's not the same as having fun. You're interested in fairy tales, really? Do you like stories, Andrea? I love to tell stories and I love to listen to stories. You like school when you want to learn. And Luca, when is it? When do you not want to learn? Is there a time where you say, you know what? No, today I don't want to learn. And maybe those are times when you feel bored. I really don't know many jokes. I'm not a very good joke teller because I can never remember the jokes. I'm terrible at remembering jokes. So I don't tell very good jokes because I can't remember them. Here we're comparing now bored or boring. Bored is used to say how people feel. So I am bored or I feel bored. Boring, also an adjective, is used to describe people or things that are not interesting. So, if I say he is a boring person, when I'm around him, I am bored. It's the same idea, but if someone is boring or a thing is boring, it affects someone else. Whereas bored is a feeling. People feel bored. So people are bored. Bored is the feeling or emotion, whereas boring is a description. So we have 4 sentences on our screen. We want to go through them and fill in the blanks because we want to realize when we should use bored and when we should use boring. Let's take a look at sentence number 1. I want to fall asleep. In your opinion, should we use bored or boring? I want to fall asleep. Now, as you come up with the answers to fill in the blank, just put your comments in the comment box on the right. How? Just like this. Give me the number, for example, and give me your answer. I'm so bored. I want to fall asleep. And there's the answer to our first sentence. I'm so bored, I want to fall asleep. How about number 2? How about number 2? This lesson is not, should we use bored or boring? Now, if you check your screen on the left, it gives us the examples. We use bored when we're describing a feeling or emotion. We use boring if we're describing the things or the person. So if something is boring, it affects someone else. If I am a boring teacher, I make you feel bored. So you could say, oh, Jennifer is such a boring teacher. I'm so bored during her lessons. I hope not. Thank you very much, Luca. This lesson is not boring, and no, it isn't. Today is a beautiful Monday morning, and we are talking about being bored. Let's take a look at number 3, and let's fill in the blank. My uncle is a person. Now remember, are we talking about how my uncle feels or how he is? And that will help us choose the right form. Is it bored or boring? Because we said that being bored is a state of being. It's an adjective that describes your feelings or emotions. I am bored on rainy days. I feel bored during organized museum tours. Thank you, Andrea. This lesson is not boring at all because of the vivacity of the teacher. Thank you very much, because I am extremely vivacious. Otherwise, the lesson would be boring, and then no one would want to participate. Thank you very much. Luca says number 3, my uncle is a boring person, because in sentence 3, we are describing the person that has an effect on someone else. Let's take a look at the 4th sentence. I think she is by this film. So we notice in sentence 4 that the film is affecting her. But how does she feel? So if we're talking about how she feels, do we use bored or do we use boring? Let's fill in the last blank, and then we'll go on to the next slide. We see the number 1, I am so bored. I want to fall asleep. This lesson is not boring. My uncle is a boring person, and I think she is bored. I think she is bored by this film. In fact, I found that the less TV I watch, the more it bores me when I do. Oh, I'm sorry. That was number 4. 4 was bored. So sometimes now at the weekend, my children want to watch a movie. And I can't seem to pay attention, because all movies at this point, even very exciting movies, after about 1 hour, I get bored watching the screen. So I have to watch the movies I have to watch the movies in pieces to keep my attention acute. Jennifer, can bore be used to describe a boring person? Yes, but in that case, bore is a noun. Not to be confused with boar as in the animal. You can say, oh my goodness, he's such a boar. He's like a savage beast. No, he is a bore. He is boring. So if we want to use bore to describe a person, in that case, Andrea, it is a noun. And that's another form of our word boring. Fantastic. So we've seen that bored, boring can be an adjective, a noun. I think she is bored by this film. Fantastic. Let's go on to the next slide. And here we want to fill in the blanks again. Remember, what rule are we concentrating on now? Bored or boring? Bored describes your feelings or emotions. Boring describes a person or a thing. If something is boring, it affects someone else. If the film is boring, she is bored. If the teacher is boring, the students are bored. Let's take a look at sentence number 1. I can't read this book. It's too. And once again, as we come up with the answers for the sentences, just type in the number and give me your answer. Bored or boring? I can't read this book. It's too. And I finished a fantastic book last night. I haven't had that much time to read, but recently I said, I'm going to take a few minutes every night before I go to sleep, even when I'm very, very tired. And I read maybe just 1 or 2 pages, just enough to keep the story active in my imagination. And I finished a book last night that was amazing. You know, I don't know who likes to read in this group, but you know that feeling when you finish a book that has completely moved you. And when you read the last page, you're like, you're sorry that the book is finished. That's how I felt last night. I read the last page. I was like, wow, this was such an amazing book. But you can't read it again. Well, you can, but you lose that sensation of reading the book for the first time. So I can't read this book. It's too boring. It's too boring, which was not the case for me last night. The book was amazing. Thank you very much, Luca. I can't read this book. It's too boring. Let's take a look at sentence number 2. My vacation was terrible. I was, and here we're talking about feelings. So do we use bored or boring? My vacation was terrible. It's important to notice that bored, boring, bore are all negative words. So if we're describing something in a negative way, thank you, Luca, then we use one of these 3 forms: bored, boring, or bore. My vacation was terrible. I was bored all the time. Let's take a look at number 3. There's nothing to watch on TV. I'm so. And we said before that feeling this way is not because there's nothing to do. It's because maybe you can't think of anything to do and you don't have energy to do anything. So it's a combination of being uninterested and without energy. So there's nothing to do. I'm bored. 2 and 3 are both bored. Let me fill in the blanks here so we know exactly where we are. I can't read this book. It's too boring. My vacation was terrible. I was bored all the time. There's nothing to watch on TV. I'm bored. I want to go home. This party is here. We're describing the party. And then we're talking about how we feel. So here there are two. This party is and I am. Very good. This party is boring. I am bored. Let's take a look at number 5. My sister didn't like the museum. She was. Now, it's very difficult for me not to like museums. I love museums. And if something does not keep my attention, I simply pass it by and look at something else, which is one of the reasons why I don't always enjoy organized museum tours. Thank you very much, Luca. Bored. My sister was bored. Because sometimes the museum tours talk about things that are not interesting for me. So I get bored while they're talking. What things do you think are boring? Some people think museums are boring. Some people think reading is boring. Some people think going to school is a bore. And some people feel that documentaries are boring films to watch. What is boring for you? I said that now because I'm not used to watching TV anymore. In fact, I don't have a television in my home. No, I have a television, but I don't have cable, which means that when I turn on the TV, nothing happens. I can only watch DVDs and Netflix. But because I don't watch TV, when I am with someone at their house and they turn on the TV, it is boring and I get bored watching TV. So what things do you think are boring? In fact, if you are not a boring person and you have a lot of interests, you may realize that there aren't too many things that you find boring because there are so many interesting things to do. Excited and interested are used to talk about how we feel. So excited and interested are like bored. I feel bored, I feel excited, and I feel interested. These are 3 words that talk about how we feel. So they're adjectives, and we use them with the verb to be. For example, I'm excited about going to Paris next week. She is interested in learning French. So let's take a minute now to talk about what we are interested in and what makes us excited. I said before at the beginning of our focus that I am excited when I have an interesting conversation. So talking about things that interest me makes me excited. So usually you feel interested first And then you start to feel excited because it's something that makes you curious. So the people in our focus activity group this morning, I've only heard from 2 of you so far. What are you interested in and what makes you excited? Are you sporty or athletic? Do you like watching football matches or other sporting events? Does that make you excited? Luca says he is bored when he watches a boring film. Yes, and in fact, if I find myself watching a boring film, Luca, I turn it off because I don't like to waste my time doing things that don't interest me. Andrea says complaining people are boring. Yes, they are. I completely agree. Complaining, what's the difference between complaining and maybe things are just very difficult and they're simply talking about reality? For example, people may be complaining about our circumstances. We can't go out. We have to wear a mask. We have to wear gloves. We have to keep distance. We can't go everywhere we want. We can't see all of the people we want. So there's also a difference between complaining and stating the facts. But as Andrea said, and I completely agree, if people complain without the intention of changing. So complaining is when you talk negatively about a situation, but do nothing about it. I'm interested in watching movies with Diane. Isn't Diane Keaton amazing? She's amazing. If you follow her entire career, like especially I think for people who have been watching Diane Keaton since the 60s or the 70s, can appreciate her growth as an actress instead of seeing her maybe just now in recent years. But she's had an amazing career. I love Diane Keaton. She's one of my favorites also. So, what are you interested in and what makes you excited? For example, I'm interested in bookbinding. So, when I go to a bookbinding class, I am very excited to learn something new. Learning new things is extremely exciting for me. And I think Luca understands that because he likes school. And I loved school when I was younger. In fact, I still like school. That's why I work in schools everywhere. Exciting and interesting are used to describe people or things. This is just like bored and boring. We said if we describe how we feel, bored, excited, interested. If we are describing the things or the people that affect us, boring, exciting, and interesting. This party is boring. I feel bored. This movie is exciting. I feel excited. This lesson is interesting. I am interested. Also, boasting people are boring, that kind of jack of all trades. Yes, Andrea, you go from one extreme to the other. People who are negative all the time without wanting to do anything to change the situation are very boring and very tiresome. as are people who are constantly talking, puffing themselves up and talking about how wonderful they are. That is extremely boring too. So you watch Diane Keaton films in English. Fantastic. Because I said so. I haven't heard of that one. Is that a recent one, Andrea? And who is her co-star? If Diane Keaton is starring in the film, who is her co-star? I'm assuming it was a male lead. I haven't seen a lot of her films. I haven't watched simply because I don't watch movies anymore. Here we have exciting and interesting, which are used to describe people or things. Example, I have an exciting life. The artist is an interesting person. We have 4 sentences and we want to fill in the blanks with exciting or interesting. Let's take a look at our sentences. As you come up with the answers to the blanks, the answers that go in the blank, simply type it in our comment box and leave it to the right. This way, everyone can have a chance to participate. Let's look at sentence number 1. I'm about going to the concert. We said before that there is a difference between being excited or interested, and that being interested often makes us curious to know more. And then as we're learning more, we get excited. So the feelings are both positive and they're related, but they're not the same thing. Here we can fill in the blanks with either excited and interested or exciting and interesting. We said that excited and interested describe how we feel, but exciting and interesting describe a thing or a person. I'm about going to the concert. I doubt they'll be organizing major concerts for a while, but there is something very positive about being around people that enjoy the same type of music as you do. Possibly if you've ever participated in a big concert where everyone knows all the words to the song. That's a great feeling. I don't enjoy very big concerts anymore because they're just kind of crowded and a little too noisy. But when I was younger, so number 1, I'm excited. I'm excited about going to the concert. And that's our answer for number 1. I'm excited about going to the concert. What about sentence number 2? Are we using excited, interested, or exciting and interesting? I'm in music. Another thing to notice is the difference, the word that follows exciting, excited, and interested. If we're interested, usually we're interested in something. If we're excited about. Very good, Luca. Thank you very much. I'm interested in music. Music is interesting because we use interesting to describe people or things, and we use interested to describe how we feel. I am interested in music because music is interesting. What about number 3? Let's take a look at number 3. This book is very I'm excited about going to the concert. I'm interested in music. This book is you should read it. Or maybe you did number 3. Did you do number 3, Luca? Because the answer interesting is perfect for number 3. This book is very interesting. You should read it. And what about skydiving? What kind of sport is skydiving? Here we are describing a thing. We're describing an activity. So do we use interesting? Thank you, Luca. We said that number 3 is also interesting. The book is very interesting. You should read it. How about number 4? If we want to describe skydiving as a sport, which adjective do we use? Remember, we said the adjectives that end in ed describe how we feel: bored, excited, and interesting. The adjectives that describe things are people and in ing: interesting, exciting, and boring. Very good, Luca. Thank you. Skydiving is an exciting sport. I also think it's a scary sport, but some people enjoy it. Now here we want to construct actual phrases using exciting and interesting. You are watching a long film where nothing happens. In order to understand what we need to do during this slide, describe these situations. How do they make you feel? What adjectives can you use to describe what they are like? What adjectives can you use to describe what they aren't like? So here we're given a situation, and we want to describe it using these 6 words: bored, boring, excited, excited, exciting, interested, and interesting. We said that all the adjectives that end in ed, bored, excited, interested, are adjectives that describe how we feel. Boring, exciting, interesting describe the thing or the person. So let's take the first situation. You are watching a long film where nothing happens. How do you feel? And can you describe the film? I'll give you an example. I am How do you feel watching a very long film where nothing happens? I am very bored because the film is not exciting. And maybe the film is about something that does not interest you. So in each of these situations, we want to talk about how we feel and describe the situation. Tomorrow, you're going scuba diving for the first time. Tomorrow, you're going scuba diving for the first time. If you think or if you feel that scuba diving is an interesting sport, then maybe you feel excited to go scuba diving because sea life is very interesting. Right now, we're simply practicing using the 6 adjectives that we're learning about this morning because they are not interchangeable, 3 of which describe how we feel, and the other 3 describe the thing or the person. But we also have one more word to consider today. Fun or funny. This is important. Fun or funny. Did you have fun at Dave's birthday party? Means you enjoy it. Fun can describe a verb plus a noun, to have fun. The verb to have and the noun, which is the object that follows. No, to have fun. Have is the noun, fun. Have is the verb. Fun is the noun. To have fun. Have is the verb. Fun is the noun. You can use fun as an adjective. We played a fun game yesterday. Funny is also an adjective, but it's used to describe something or someone that makes you laugh. So fun, to have fun. I hope you have fun at the party. Verb plus noun. Verb to have. Fun is the noun. Fun as an adjective. To do something that you enjoy. I always have a fun time when I visit my cousin. Funny as an adjective is something that makes you laugh. Peter told me a funny joke. The new Jim Carrey film isn't very funny. So if something is fun, it doesn't mean it makes you laugh. If something is funny, then it makes you laugh. Movies can be funny. People can be funny. But if you go to a party, it is not funny. It is fun. Thank you, Andrea. Andrea says, I'm excited to have a go at scuba diving. And to have a go means to try something. To have a go at means to try something new. I've never been scuba diving before, so if I have a go at it, I'm going to try it. And because scuba diving is something interesting, I am excited to try it. I'm excited to have a go. Thank you very much, Andrea. So now we're considering the difference between fun and funny. We know often that people do interchange them, but it's not always correct. Let's take a look at the 10th slide and see if we can fill in the blanks before we conclude our focus activity this morning. Fun or funny? We've gone over bored and boring, excited and exciting, interested and interesting. Now we're talking about fun or funny. To have fun, something can be fun. Someone or something can be funny. Let's fill in the blanks. And as you come up with your answers, just put them in the conversation box over on the right. Let's take a look at number 2. It's to learn English. Here, there's really only one right answer. I love learning new languages. I only know 2. And my second language, so. I have much room for improvement, but luckily, I like to learn. So I never get bored, especially when I need to write. When I'm writing in Italian, it's very, very challenging. But I'm not going to give up. I continue to learn how to spell, and I continue to learn my Italian grammar. It's fun to learn English. Let's take a look at number 3. This party is boring. I'm not having. And we said before that when we use one of these words as a noun, we use it with have. To have funny or to, are you sure, Luca? This party is boring. I'm not having. When we use have fun. So this party is boring. I'm not having fun. I am bored because the party is boring. Let's finish up these blanks so that everybody can go and have lunch. Marisa always tells, and this time, Luca, funny is appropriate because jokes make you laugh. So we use funny. If it makes you laugh, it is funny. If it's something you enjoy, it is fun. I love cooking. I think it's, and again, we're talking about an activity that we enjoy. Thank you very much, Luca. So I love cooking. I think it's fun. What have we done in today's focus? This was a very, very important focus. I want to thank everybody for participating because these are certain words that we mistakenly interchange. Fun and funny are not the same. Excited and exciting are not the same. So what have we learned this morning? What have we reviewed? That when we describe how we feel, we use bored, excited, and interested. When we want to describe a thing or a person that affects us, we use exciting, interesting, and boring. Very good, Andrea. Andrea says, learning English can also be funny with its whimsical grammar rules. Yes, it can, because English grammar is not easy. It's not easy. Why? Because there are no rules. So in closing our focus activity this morning, how do you feel? I am bored. How do you feel? I am excited. I am interested. How is it? It is boring. How is it? It is exciting or it is interesting. Does it make you laugh? Then it is funny. Do you enjoy it? Then you are having fun. I want to thank everyone for joining me this Monday. It's a great way to start off the week. Thank you so much. Just remember that English in the City Prato is live at least once a day on YouTube and on Facebook. So if you are free, tune in and join me. Have a wonderful afternoon, and I will see everyone again next time. Have a great day.